first story is titled, Am I the a-hole for saying there's no point in my mom and I having closure when she's already dead to me? I'm 27 male. My parents were 18 when they had me, and up until recently, I had zero contact with my mom for the reasons below. 1. She was a party girl when I was growing up, so I was always watched by my grandma instead of her. It was obvious she wasn't that interested in being a mom. 2. Cheated on my dad constantly behind his back, since he was working so much. 3. This is the major one. I was diagnosed with leukemia when I was 9. What did she do? Took off because it became too much, and she couldn't handle it. My dad was there for me every step of the way. I survived, but that deeply messed me up for a long time. My dad was the best ever, and he had me in therapy for a long time after, to get over the hurt she caused. She didn't come back. I finally got to a place where I didn't care anymore, and considered her dead in my mind. The most surprising thing I learned recently is now she's the one with cancer. My aunt told me it's terminal and doesn't have that long left. They've said less than a year, but I don't know how long she's had this diagnosis. Everyone in my family knows what she did. The only person who stayed in contact with her was my aunt, her sister, and she tells me my mom has changed a lot. All she wants is to talk to me before she dies, so we can have closure. I told my aunt exactly what I said in the title. I can't see my mom and listen to whatever excuses she has, when in my mind I've already let her go. There's no point in bringing up old stuff when I moved on. And if she just wants this so she could leave this earth with a clean conscience, then I want to see her even less. My aunt didn't like any of what I said. We did argue back and forth trying to defend my mom, because she is full of regret, and it's important to find it on my heart to do this. She's telling everyone now, and a lot of them are torn. Some of them get that she did the same to me, so I don't owe her, but others are being vocal about how I should be the bigger person, and I shouldn't be talking like that about her. The sad part, it's family who I care about saying these things, so it's making me feel conflicted if I'm being an a-hole. Not that I plan to see her, but still, these are people who saw what she did to me and are telling me I'm somehow in the wrong. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Biological family or not, she's a stranger. This isn't closure for you. This is closure for her. Selfish people being selfish. Yeah, no. Exactly. She abandons Opie when he needs her the most. Now that the shoe is on the other foot, she expects him to drop everything and be there for her? To tell her it was fine that she just up and left? Screw that. Not the a-hole. Opie, one of my favorite sayings in regard to people who have hurt me in my family is, it took me a long time to love myself enough to hate them. You don't owe her your forgiveness. I hate when people say we have to be the bigger person after a person was so crappy. It's good she has regrets, but I think it's more about her than you. Your mom made choices, and so did you. Instead, they should be the bigger person and respect your choice. I hate the bigger person arguments. It's admitting the other person is wrong, but you should play by their rules anyway. A couple years back, my estranged uncle reached out to his siblings. My father is the eldest, wanting to reconnect before his cancer ran its course. Dad's response was a resounding and firm no. It baffled me honestly, despite the rift being so bad that I never met my uncle in my entire 30-plus years. I only knew some of the stories and I didn't pry for more. But the idea of denying someone a chance to apologize, even if my dad had no intention of giving forgiveness, was just strange to me. I can honestly say Dad doesn't regret that decision. He didn't think twice. He never backed down, even when his sister pushed, and has been totally at peace with it. Do what's best for you, even if those close to you don't understand. In this situation, only you know what's best. Not the a-hole. Thanks, I appreciate it. Guess it's true they won't ever truly understand it, 'cause only I know how I feel. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for being mean to my father and his wife? My, 15 male, father, 47 male, is a piece of crap. He cheated on my mom with his much younger assistant. It was freaking textbook. My mom found out, divorced him, and got full custody of me. My dad married his affair partner. But about a year ago, my mom died in a car crash. After her death, I had to go live with my father and his wife. Let's call her Stacy. Ever since I started living there, Stacy has had the idea in her head that we'll be a picture-perfect family, and she'll be my replacement mom. I don't consider any of them to be my family. One time, Stacy told me that I need to be more friendly to her now that she was my mom. I lost it. I told her that she was just a home wrecker and my dad was a cheating a-hole. She started crying and my father chewed me out. Today, Stacy apparently went through my emails and found out that I will be receiving an academic honor and will be speaking at the ceremony. She and my dad interrogated me for a bit and asked me why I didn't tell them. I told them that they couldn't come as it's family only. After that, they both just walked away with their heads down. It looks like they told the whole family, and I'm getting a lot of crap from my dad's side, but my grandmother and uncle on my mom's side are with me. I'm starting to think I might have been too harsh. So, am I the a-hole? Info. Have I had therapy? No, I haven't. I told my father I wanted it, but he refused. When did Stacy say she was my mom? About 2 months after my mom's death. Was my mom at fault in the car crash? No, she was hit by a drunk driver. Can I live with any of my relatives? No, none of them can take me in. Not the a-hole. I can't believe the other comments telling Opie to basically get over it and be okay with the father's affair/new family situation. By marrying the affair partner, the father is rubbing Opie's nose in it every day. If he one day feels differently and decides to forgive, great. But telling Opie affairs happen, you need to move on, is invalidating his very valid feelings. And frankly, it's gross and sounds like something someone who cheated would say. At least, it's only a few years until Opie is an adult and will hopefully have other living arrangement options. Especially when the stepmom told him she's his mom now, like, no the hell you're not. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I can't believe people are calling you the a-hole here. Your dad and his wife made their bed, and you don't owe them forgiveness. They can earn your respect over time, but it is up to you to give it to them when you're ready. Of course, you're holding on to anger. They hurt your mom, and then your mom passed away. It probably feels like betraying her memory to forgive them. They are trying to force the family to make themselves feel better about being crappy people. I want to let you know though, if they really are trying to be good people, you might end up being happier in the long run if you can someday forgive them. But them invading your privacy makes me feel like they are just being controlling. I'm sure your mom would want you to be happy more than she'd want you to hold onto that grudge. But that is your journey, your choice, and they can't rush you into that. You are allowed to feel betrayed by them for what they did to your mom. I hope you're getting therapy. Best wishes. Now, for the next story. Am I the a-hole for using my mother's own threats against her and calling my brother a tattletale? I will turn 19 on Thanksgiving this year. My mother is extremely controlling. She doesn't think your birthday should be celebrated if it falls on a holiday. So myself and my older sister, 22 female, whose birthday is sometimes on Easter, will sometimes not be acknowledged at all because your birthday isn't a holiday. And she will kick people out if they wished us a happy birthday. It's ridiculous. This isn't even the most controlling thing she does. If you get upset, you're the problem and how dare you hurt her feelings. So my sister said she'd bring me a cupcake for my birthday that I could have after everyone left. My brother, a 13 male, overheard and told my mother, and she kicked up a big fuss about it. She called my sister and they got into an argument, and now my sister isn't coming at all because my mother uninvited her. I miss my sister. So when she invited me to her place instead, I said yes. My brother tattled again, and my mom tried to tell me I couldn't go. My sister has offered me a room in her apartment, and I'm really tempted to move. I told my mother I was going, and she couldn't stop me, and if she threatened to kick me out like she likes to do, I had somewhere to go. So let me know if I need to start packing. She just sort of floundered for a minute before turning on the tears. I just walked away. She doesn't want me to move because she needs my extra help with my brother, like driving him places and keeping an eye on him. My brother said I was being an a-hole, but I told him if he wasn't always such a tattletale, this wouldn't be a problem. I then shut the door in his face. My sister is thrilled I stood up for myself, but I got a call from my grandmother, who is also controlling, saying I'm being ridiculous and I owe everyone an apology. Am I the a-hole here? Absolutely not the a-hole. And take up that offer from your sister ASAP. Your mother is toxic. Not the a-hole. I would move out regardless of what your mom does if your sister is offering the room. The sooner you gain independence from your mom, the more power over your own life you will have. On another note, your brother sounds like he's been spoiled. I wouldn't put any stock in what he says. Not the a-hole. If your sister has offered you a room, I encourage you to take it. You need to get out of your mother's thumb. I bet your brother won't think it's so funny when he doesn't have a ride anymore. Has your mother rewarded that kind of tattling before? Update. I want to thank everyone for their responses. I really appreciate it. I am moving in with my sister this weekend. I'm packing little at a time. I don't want to raise her suspicion or she'll be awful until I leave, or try and stop me. I already have my important documents, and will leave either Friday night or early Saturday morning. To address a few comments I got about my brother, he thinks it's funny when she yells at me or my sister, and consistently tries to get us in trouble because he is her good kid. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for asking my sister what was wrong with her when she announced she was having a third child? Okay, so I'm 17 female. My sister is 19 female. My sister got pregnant with her first when she was 16. She kept the baby, of course, and obviously struggled with being a teen parent. After this, she in conversation mentioned how she couldn't find a birth control that worked for her, and how she didn't want her kids to have a large age difference. She had another when she was 17 or 18. Same father. She's really struggled with 2 kids. Her baby daddy ended up cheating on her and leaving her for another girl who he also got pregnant. It was a mess. My sister can't work because childcare is too expensive, so her method of survival has pretty much been bouncing around from friend's house to friend's house or staying with, usually crappy, dudes she met online. Or asking my parents or myself for money. It's her choice, but it's not a good environment for the kids, and I'm surprised she hasn't lost them yet. She'd been staying with this one guy for a couple months now. So last night, she came over and had dinner with us. She announced that she was having a third. I could tell my parents were shocked, but they congratulated her and asked how far along she was, etc. I didn't have such a good reaction. For starters, part of me was upset with my parents because they are not nearly as forgiving about mistakes I make. Secondly, I just couldn't believe she was having another child. I'm not one of those only the rich should have kids type of people, but she can't afford to feed, clothe, or have a place to stay for the kids. So I asked her what the hell she was thinking. I told her about all the pretty damn obvious reasons she couldn't have kids. To clarify, I wasn't yelling. I didn't lay into her too much because my niece and nephew were there. I know I shouldn't have sworn, but in my defense, they hear worse. She got upset and started screaming at me, and it was a mess, and I left to go to my room. Now my parents want to apologize to her, and I'm refusing. I think part of the reason she has no common sense is because of how she was cuddled. I think someone needed to tell her. I know there's not much that can be done now, but at least maybe she'll think twice about having a 4th kid. But everyone is upset with me, and I do feel like I was mean, or I shouldn't have said anything with her kids there. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and your parents suck at parenting. Their first 2 grandkids are borderline neglected and shoved around to different dads every few months. Your sister has no business raising 1 kid like that, never mind 3. Even though she's an adult, she's not making adult choices. And your parents have a responsibility to protect their grandkids, since it's their fault she had and kept a kid at 16. Like, she didn't get taught how to raise it or take care of herself in the first place. And 16 is still a child, so that's on them. As a woman whom had a kid way too young and chose adoption, I agree with you. OP is not the a-hole. There are so many options available to women. Perhaps OP shouldn't have spoken so harshly in front of their niece and nephew, but also perhaps the kids needed to hear their life is being built on bad choices, and they can choose to break the cycle. Not the a-hole. Maybe unpopular opinion here, but why hasn't anyone called CPS yet? She doesn't even have a home or a way to feed these children, and yet seems to be intentionally having more. These kids need to be in a more stable home where they don't run the risk of living in the streets, especially as I doubt any of her friends are going to want to take her in now that she will have a newborn. Your parents also need to get their heads out of the clouds and talk to her about this. This is ridiculous. Agreed. CPS definitely needs called. They almost certainly won't take any action, But documentation is important. This situation is not okay. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.